Hello there. So I'm back from my holiday and I came back to a wonderful surprise. TZ Cosmetix sent me two of their new palettes. We have the Miss Jasmine palette and we have the, I call this the Obsidian eyeshadow palette, but on the outer box it does say the Lady Bro with me, which is quite the name, let's put it that way. But I think the Obsidian eyeshadow palette kind of makes more sense in a way. This is currently available on Amazon for $17.99. I had a quick look on AliExpress and I couldn't find it on there, so I will contact Rick from TZ Cosmetix to find out if it is going to be available on AliExpress, but you can definitely get it from Amazon. I am going to be testing out the Miss Jasmine palette in a separate video. This one looks divinely gorgeous. This one is predominant, like I think it's all shimmers. This makes me think of like Morocco because it looks very Moroccan with the dual shimmer shades, and then with this kind of, I don't know, it's just a very exquisitely packaged product. But I think it should really be called Miss Morocco maybe. But anyway, so I'm going to be testing this palette out in a video in the future at some point. Today we are going to be testing out the Obsidian palette, just to mention as well, because I got back from Greece yesterday and we went to the kids club every single night and I have a song stuck in my head. So just know throughout the entire video, this is the song that is stuck in my head. Are you ready for this? Like literally such a catchy song, and I love Kids Club. I could literally spend every evening at Kids Club. But anyway, so the palette is what we're here for today. So this is what the inside of the palette looks like. I don't think like the outer packaging is very cohesive with the actual palette itself, because you've got very different like vibes going on. You know, with this palette it makes me think of like, you know, like a vampy kind of edgy palette. You've got this very like pretty mandala on the front of this palette, which takes in another direction. It's almost like the outer packaging was created for another palette. I mean, that's just probably a bit of a moot point, but one that I did just want to mention. This is what she looks like. You've got 18 different shades. You've got mattes, shimmers, you've got warmer tones, cooler tones. You've got a real kind of mix of, you know, everything that you would need to create a variety of different looks. Why do I feel like I'm an advert right now? Like, I don't know. I feel like I'm fresh to the game today. It's like, oh my gosh. But anyway, so you do get a big mirror as well. And it looks like a very agreeable mirror, I must say. I do have a little bit of a breakout and a fecking mosquito bit me right on my neck. How rude is that? Anyway, so this is the palette. I think it's really beautiful looking. I almost like, when I look at this palette, think of it as 3 separate little palettes. You know, you could quite conceivably see that they could have released these, you know, 3 as like individual palettes. Oh my gosh, guys, like literally it's just going round and round my head, but it's a really happy song, so it's fine. Okay, so let's do the swatches. Let's do them. Oh my gosh. Ooh, she's all excited today. Oh my gosh, right, okay. I'm going to calm down. Literally, I'm in holiday mode. I'm just like, hey. I love this colour mix so much, and so does my vagina. Oh, I love that mauvey shade. That's beautiful. Oh, yes. Oh, guys. I'm feeling very optimistic about this. Look at that. Kuchara, 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 ra, ra. Okay, so this is like the cooler toned little 6-tuplet. Well, it's not quad because there's 6 shades in every portion. 6-tuplet. Is that what it is? I don't know. But this is like the cool one. And I feel like this could be my favourite one. Oh, look at this, guys. This one is this shimmer here. And this one stands out as looking quite different to all of the other shadows. It looks to be almost foiled, and if you look at it on my finger, you can definitely see it's got a lot of shine going on. Sexy little, oh yes, look at that. It looks lovely against the black as well. Okay, so we have all of the swatches. I feel like this palette is immensely versatile because you've got the mix of the cool tones, the warm tones, and then the tones in between. I just feel like, you know, it could just be a really good kind of everyday palette. My vagina wants to tell you it was especially blown away by this beautiful icy pink shimmer. I love the kind of matte coral pink. I think the cooler tones were sensational. Love this plum shade, and then again with the more kind of oranges, golds, bronzes. I just love it. There's just so much with this palette. So oh my gosh, this is where I need to like create a look, and I do feel like I am gravitating towards the cooler side, but I do definitely want to use the icy pink shimmer. So I'm going to just use this light almost white shade just to kind of pop all over my lid up to the brow bone, just for a little bit of a kind of neutral brace. I mean, really guys, I have put a little bit of concealer on my lids just to kind of get them prepared for the eyeshadows that are about to party up there. Okay, so there we go. I mean, it's a white shade, so not much to see, but I think it's nice, you know. Okay, so next I'm going to get my fluffy AOA. This is the E127 brush. I love these brushes. I know I talk about them in every video, but I really, really like them. And I'm going to go in with this beautiful, this was like the mauvey shade, and I'm just going to pop that all up in my crease. Okay, so I don't think it's like very pigmented really. This is kind of how it's swatched on my wrist, which obviously when you swatch a shadow, you're going to get like the maximum amount of pigment, whereas, you know, after you kind of tapped off the excess and then, you know, started to blend, oh Shania, I've dropped the packing palette. You know, as you start to blend, you're going to lose some of the pigment, but I feel like I have used other shadows that have been a little bit more pigmented in my time, so I am going to switch brushes, and I'm going to go with a little bit of a smaller brush. It's a bit more kind of dense. I'm just kind of tapping the shadow onto the crease. Just going to blend this out. I am going to go in with this beautiful kind of matte, it's like a rosy pink shade, and I'm going to go in with this Morphe brush, just tapping it on first. My favourite palette by TZ Cosmetix is the Firefly Forest palette. The eyeshadows in that palette are made with clay, and they're just like exceptionally kind of creamy and easy to blend. So I do feel like, you know, really TZ Cosmetix would have a lot of success maybe like if they recreated that same formula in all of their palettes, because it's so like sensational. It's just an amazing formula. these eyeshadows definitely do not have that same like creaminess, and they're not as pigmented as other TZ eyeshadows that I have actually tried. But I mean, we're only 2 shadows in, so I mean, I don't want to overly judge it too harshly, but I'm just telling you my, you know, thoughts as they come, because I mean, I might forget later. I had a couple of margaritas when we were on holiday. So, you know, kuchara, 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 ra, ra, kuchara. Okay, right. So next I'm going to go in with this very cool toned brown shade. I'm just going to use that just to really kind of beef out this crease, because I want to go with like quite a dramatic smoky crease today. And then I'm going to put that beautiful icy pink just, you know, laying just glamorously on the lid. These are very powdery. It's not a problem, but just again, just letting you know everything. I feel like these eyeshadows are kind of dry, like they're kind of dry, a little bit tricky to like blend. Okay, so next I'm going to go and pick up a little bit of this kind of, it's a slightly darker but still cool tone brown, and I'm just going to go in with another Morphe brush. Oh guys, I must say, like at this point I'm not loving this palette. I just feel like, you know, compared to other eyeshadows that I try from TZ Cosmetix, it just seems very like dry. And the eyeshadows are not very pigmented, and I do feel like as you blend them out, you really do lose like so much of the pigment. That's always going to happen, of course, you know. When you blend any shadows, you're going to lose the pigment, but I feel like with these, you also lose a lot of the colour as well, and it ends up looking quite faded, and you get this kind of look, which is not my favourite, you know. So I'm going to just like move on to a shimmer. So I'm going to go in with the beautiful icy pink, and I'm going to just use my finger to apply it, and then if we want to, we can use a bit of Fix Plus. We'll just see how it looks on its own first, on a little solo mission. It's kind of chunky. It's not great, guys. It's not great. It's just not great. It looks really dry, and I feel kind of bad saying this, because with TZ Cosmetix were the first brand that ever reached out to me, and I really will always appreciate that. You know, they're the first brand to ever send me makeup to try out, and I've loved every single one pretty much of their other products, but this is definitely not to their usual standard, and I hope that they can take this as, you know, like feedback and constructive criticism, because I know that they're capable of so much more than this. So okay, well, we're not giving up on it yet, guys, so I'm going to get a bit of Fix Plus. I'm just going to spritz a little bit of it on my table. I'm going to get a tiny little brush from Morphe, and I'm going to just try out the shadow with this wet brush. The wet brush definitely has helped to bring the shimmer alive. I'm actually really liking it. I think it looks like, you know, a really beautiful shade. It's almost like a silvery kind of pink, and I really like it, and I do think that actually it's made the crease look a lot better now as well. I'm just not blown away like in any way by the look at all. I can't speak right now, like seriously, but I'm gonna just, okay, we're gonna go in with a little bit of black, just to see if we can, like, you know, just add a little bit of je ne sais quoi to this look. So yeah, I'll go in with the black. Okay, so there we go. I mean, yeah, like it's not my favourite look ever, really. But you know, it's there. I'm gonna go ahead, I'm gonna do the rest of my makeup and I will be back. I'm gonna be testing out a bunch of makeup from UCAN that was sent to me. It was like Christmas when I got home from my holiday. It was just like, wow, I mean, really, guys. So I'm gonna go away, I'm gonna film that video, and then I'll be back when I've finished all of the makeup and I can give you my final thoughts on this palette. Oh, it's a beautiful Mustang car outside that keeps flirting past. I'm just like, oh, hello. Okay, so she is back. This is the finished look. I did go away as well and film a testing out You Can Be makeup video. So I used their new eyeliner, new lipstick, new eyebrow gel, which, yes, definitely too dark for me. I'm not having a good day for getting shades to match because, you know, the foundation as well. I used the Makeup Revolution Conceal and Define Foundation, which, you know, it was too light for me before I went away to Greece for a week, and now it's definitely too light for me. So all of that aside, I have my final thoughts on the palette to announce. I mean, is it an announcement? I don't know, but I have my final thoughts together on the palette. I am not a huge fan. I feel kind of sad saying that, but I know that TZ Cosmetix will hopefully not be offended, hopefully, but you know, they're pretty like decent brands, so I feel hopeful that they could hopefully see this as constructive criticism. I just feel like when you compare the formula of the shadows in this palette against other TZ Cosmetic palettes, it doesn't seem to be quite on par, especially with the Firefly Forest palette, where the eyeshadows are just creamy, buttery, pigmented. It's really easy to blend out. These ones just seemed like a cheaper formula, and I didn't really like it. I think on the one hand it's really great that, you know, you've got a complete mix of warm tones, cool tones, and in between kind of neutral tones. I think that's wonderful, but then at the same time I do feel like it can be a bit overwhelming. It can kind of throw you off a bit. Like, I don't know, if you're kind of thinking to yourself, okay, I'm going to do like a cool look today, but then your eye spots like, you know, one of the really warm shades, and then you get distracted and you pop one of those in the crease, and then before you know it, you've got like some kind of crazy warm cool toned eye going on, which, by the way, that's fine if that's what you're into, but I just feel like it can be a little bit much, a little bit overwhelming, which I feel like that's probably why a lot of brands don't really mix warm and cool tones. They do tend, like, if you've noticed, like, they do tend to have like a cool tone palette, or like the majority of palettes, warm tone palettes. I just think it's more cohesive that way. So unfortunately for me, this is not a palette that I am going to be reaching for again, just because I wouldn't recommend it, because I just did not like the formula. It's not what I've come to expect from TZ Cosmetics. So yeah, this is not the palette for me. But I do want to thank TZ Cosmetics for sending it to me, but I can't in good faith recommend it, because it's not for me. So I know it's probably not going to be for you guys. Okay, I like the look that I've created, but not really. Like, I'm just not loving it, and I just knew as soon as I started to blend out the shadows, they just weren't for me. Like, they weren't my favorites, you know. But anyway, guys, thank you so much for watching the video. I hope that you're having a great day so far, and I will see you in the next one.